Hello and welcome back. Court Vision is now in session. We're back here, folks. This is episode 3 of our preseason predictions for the 2025-2026 NBA season. We're on to the Pacific Division. This division, I think, is going to be interesting because there's one big thing that is potentially going to happen that will entirely transform one team. And the NBA quite isn't sure yet what they're doing. We'll visit that when we get to the team. Why you look so perplexed, Mongo?
It's a good little sneaky intro by you. I like that.
Oh, thanks.
I like
I
that.
tried.
You really clipped
I'm
that.
interested. I'm going to keep watching this episode. Go on.
That's good. So we're going to start things off with, in general, this division has a couple of shaky things. We'll start with the Golden State Warriors. They have to figure out the Jonathan Kuminga situation, right? They have a bunch of players that has been announced today that they're planning to sign, but they have to wait for the Jonathan Kuminga situation to get settled next week, I guess. I don't know why next week. Probably something to do with the regular season starting soon. So last year, the Golden State Warriors won a grand total of 48 games. Pretty solid. I have the Golden State Warriors winning 48 games. I don't know if I know that they get a full year of Jimmy Butler, but they're all another year older. They're always one Draymond Green suspension away from just being always in a weird spot. The Jonathan Kuminga situation could get ugly at some point during the season. And just in general, if you look at all the players they're signing, Al Horford, Seth Curry, they're signing older guys, and the team doesn't have a vet issue so much as it doesn't have quite the right depth, I feel. And I feel like getting older with their depth isn't the solution. But I could be wrong. They did try with the younger guys, with Moses Moody as well. And I think he's still even on the team. But I don't know. I'm not sure. 48 wins is obviously a good amount of wins. Can't really complain about that. I just don't think they did enough to get better, but I also don't think they did enough to be worse. Mongo?
So I'll preface with this. I have this entire division going backwards from last year. I have this entire division hitting the under in Vegas. I want you to imagine it's 2010. I don't know where you were, Cora. I was at our buddy Bill's house. I remember it distinctly. It's 2010, and the decision is going on, right? It's July 8th, 2010. I think that's the exact date of there you go, of the decision. Could you imagine going back in time to that date and saying, hey, 15 and change years from now, not only is LeBron still going to be playing, not only is LeBron now going to be in the Pacific, but he's actually going to be on the team causing the least chaos in the division. I mean, how far have we come that LeBron's the normal team? We went from, him totally taking over, primetime television just to announce, his future to the Lakers being the only team I don't think has, and even the Lakers can, but they're the least likely to implode. I don't like this Warrior team. I'll be totally honest. This is a team that has drafted poorly for years. We look at, guys like James Wiseman. This is a team that, the Kuminga nonsense has gone on way too far. It's gotten real chippy behind the scenes. They turned down a trade involving a first and Malik Monk coming to them. I mean, we're clearly at a standoff here. Unless Kuminga just effectively takes the pay cut, because no one's going above a first round pick and a 6th man of the year. I mean, that's not going to happen. And all this is doing, I get they're bringing in the veterans, but add in, and it's sneaky because he does so little, on paper, but moving on from Kevon Looney basically says, we are grasping at straws to keep this thing alive. Looney was the center of the dynasty. Obviously guys have come and gone, but Looney is one of the names when you think of, Steph's 5. And that's basically means we're no longer in the era. And obviously you could look at other more obvious signs like Klay Thompson being down in Dallas, But bringing in veterans like Al Horford is, we're going to take this 1 year at a time and just cling on to try and stay alive. And that's a terrible strategy, especially when you have a front office that seems to not be players first, especially when you have guys like Jimmy Butler or Draymond Green, who are known to kind of go off the rails. And so I put them at 42 wins, but even that is solely on raw talent. If we wake up in April and they're in 13th place in the West, it would not surprise me in the least. So I have them 42. That still gets them in the play-in in my world, but I would not bet on this team. I would not trust this team. If I'm a Warrior fan, I'm expecting a lot of sleepless nights. I'm skeptical of this whole division, but the Warriors especially, it's the little things that go a long way here for them.
And before you chime in, Tommy, you know what? I totally can see that happening where they get only 42 wins. Like that's not far-fetched at all in my mind. I'm just, I don't know. I just feel like this team, I don't know. I see what you're saying. I do. All right, Tommy, what's your take on this whole situation?
If I can say one positive thing I have about this Warriors team
is how much you love Draymond Green and you wish he was on your San Antonio Spurs.
Yes, you got me. No, they're second in the division, but this is a division I don't have going very far. To tell you the truth, I think age is going to be the biggest problem for this team. It's going to be the biggest problem for at least one or two of these teams in this division.
There's three teams in this division.
Yeah, but I'm being yes, probably more like 3, 4 if you count another team, but we won't go there yet. My point is I don't really see much happening out in the Pacific Division this season, and with that in mind, I have them going 40 and 42.
Wow.
I think Tommy's way closer than Kilroy. I'm sorry, and honestly, just to piggyback on Tommy, the only thing they have going for them, honestly, is they still have Steph Curry, and I will be the last guy on the it's a stars league hill, even with everything Adam Silver is trying to do. So I mean that carries.
Oh yeah, that's one of the few bright spots about this team.
But
Curry is still firing on all cylinders at his age.
And the other thing, I know how we do it. This is the sixth season. This technically season 5 because we did kind of a half year in 2021. Me and Kilroy together. So we've been doing this for a really long time. So I know how we do these preview shows where we basically isolate the division. But you got to remember the Spurs are much better this year, even with the Van Fleet news, which we'll cover when we do the Southwest. Houston is much better. Portland looks much more competent. I mean, there are just improvements in the West. To Tommy's point, the Pacific as a whole, and it's why I have, like I said, all of them taking a step back. Obviously, they get to beat up on each other, but I think they're easily the weakest of the 3 divisions in the West.
They're going to regress hard this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deny
gets
that.
My rankings, my predictions get pretty low, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at mine. I don't think I have regressions on a few teams. I will say my top 2 teams. Yeah, well, we'll get there when we get there. Let's go to the Phoenix Suns. That's next. Last year, Phoenix had 36 wins, I think. Yeah, 36 wins. That team was very troubled last year. They just could not get healthy. And then when they did get healthy, the team was just bad. They just could not click. They desperately needed a true point guard. They had one, and then they decided, no, we want Bradley Beal. We'll have Devin Booker run the point again, as though that has ever worked in Devin Booker's career as the true point guard on that team. I don't know why they keep doing that weird. It's not even an experiment at this point. It is just the team does better when he is not the point guard. And I don't know why they continue to do that. And they paid the price last year. And the team, not blaming Booker, right? Like, he's obviously still a very good player. I can't believe as young as he is still. That it's just odd that the team continues to do that. And this is under like new ownership too, which is crazy. So I have them getting 30 wins. I have them losing 6 more. They lost Kevin Durant. They lost Bradley Beal. I think that this team easily could get a lot less than 30 wins. I'm just trying to be generous. This looks like a bad team, and I feel bad for Devin Booker. Mongo?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Listen, I actually would rather be a Phoenix Sun fan today than I would be a Phoenix Sun fan 1 year ago. I'm with you. It was toxic. A lot of things wrong there. There were a lot of issues in the front office. The DeAndre Ayton saga was a mess. KD never quite fit there. The veterans they put together never quite fit together. So I think they're better off by just moving on and letting it, kind of take its toll. Now, with that being said, though, I mean, when you look at this team, Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks come over as part of the Durant trade from Houston, and Mark Williams comes in as part of a trade from Charlotte, and Jared Butler comes in from Houston, and Jordan Goodwin comes in from the Clippers, and Nigel Hayes-Davis comes in from Europe after being gone for 3 years. I mean, on paper, this sounds like what the Vegas or Oklahoma City expansion draft roster will sound like in a few years, right? They just went out and took like the 4th through 9th best guy from 10 different teams and said, have at it, be an NBA team. We know that's not going to work in the first year of an expansion team. It's not going to work here. They're a bad team, but at least they now have some young, hungry pieces that can work together. They can start to kind of get themselves right with some capital. I have them at 27 wins. That would put them at 27-55. I'm right there with you, Kilroy. If you're a Suns fan, the good news, because Tom, I'm kind of like Tommy where I don't ever put anyone too low. That does make them my 4th worst team in the NBA. So, I mean, it puts them square in top projection to get the number 1 pick. So they at least have that going for them. And I think they take a year, because I don't think 27 is you could imagine a world where, like, if the wheels fall off the Warriors or the wheels fall off the Sixers, they tank out down to 27 wins or tank out down to 23 wins. That's a noble effort by the Suns to get 27 to 30 wins this year. So if I'm a Suns fan, I'm very happy to see that number somewhere in the upper 20s. I'm happy to see them win games they definitely still should win when they play Washington a couple times a year, when they play Utah a couple times a year. Don't get embarrassed by any bad teams. Be up there in the top 5, get a good rookie to build around. Like I said, I really like Mark Williams. I like Jalen Green. You have some young pieces there to work with. This team's now trending in the right direction, but they're at the very, very beginning of that trend. Give me 27-55, which is obviously, like I said, one of the worst records in my NBA.
Tommy?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, all those moves are going to pay off in about 2-3 years, I think. But this year, I'm pretty much in the same spot as you. I got them going 29-53.
Yeah,
we're all in the same.
It feels right? I mean, Vegas only has them at 31.5. I think we're all saying it's going to be a little under that, but it's not like even Vegas is saying, Devin Booker's going to have a Superman season. I mean, this is a bad team. There's really no denying it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, with the rest of this, how this goes for the Suns, if they're going to make any, I don't know. Not that they're going to make, do they own their draft pick? This would be perfect time for Kevin. Do they own their draft pick this year?
Hang on, I'm on it.
Because if they don't own their draft pick, they may try to, because they're hungry for a championship. They may still try to do something crazy in the season, especially if there's someone, becomes available. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to go on to the next topic, but I do have you looking that up.
They are part of that. They are part of that circus where they do own a pick, but it's that one where 3 different teams end up having to sort out who has the best one. But it involves the Wizards, so it's not like it's going to be they're either picking 3 or 30. They're going to be picking 3 or 4. Okay. Yes, they own it. The following year, it could come from a bunch of different teams, but they actually have 2 firsts. It looks like they have a pretty full slate of picks, so they can rebuild. They have an extra second, it looks like, in the next couple of years too. So they can build fairly organically here. Well, again, I do think Jalen Green is certainly, I don't think he was going to carry Houston and be the top 5 pick savior they thought he was going to be. But I think Jalen Green next to Booker, playing with Booker is certainly a usable guy in the starting 5. I love Mark Williams. the Suns always seem to take a guy, like a Dorian Finney-Smith or a Royce O'Neal and get stupid mileage out of them. So they'll eventually, when they start getting back towards sniffing the playoffs, they'll be able to find guys like that as well. So, I like where this team's going for sure, but this year is just a lost year for Phoenix for sure.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the Los Angeles Lakers. Last year they won 50 games. I know you guys are pretty tough on this division, but I have them going 50 wins as well. Again, I don't. So here's the thing. I don't think they were trying last year. I think they were trying to incorporate Luka, but I think even with LeBron sitting out as much as he did and just things in general, they still managed to get to 50 wins. That I think that unless I just can see it happening again by accident. I know that sounds silly because the West has gotten better, but I just feel like that even they feel like this team feels like they can win anywhere, right? Like in the playoffs, as Mongo has talked about, multiple times with LeBron James. If you have LeBron James, you're in it, right? And then, adding in Luka this past year, they're always going to be in it unless major injury happens. And this year you do have Luka is looking, again, we'll see how it goes into the season because, right, every year in the offseason, it's like, oh, Luka's in the best shape of his life. And then he gains like 30 pounds. If he can stay, in good shape the whole year and can stay relatively healthy, I think they will naturally just get to 50 wins. And again, LeBron is still LeBron for the most part. And I'm not saying this team is going to go win a championship. I think the top teams in the West are just so much better than the Lakers. But I also just don't see I can see them losing more games, just because that's just the West is stronger. But I feel comfortable putting them at 50.
Yeah, so I need to clarify something here too, in that I'll kind of work my way backwards to my win total here. I have the Lakers finishing 6th in the West. But with that being said, I do actually have them winning in the first round. And I actually, amongst the 5 teams I have ahead of them, I trust them in the playoffs more than Minnesota by virtue of Minnesota's history in the playoffs. I trust them more than, sorry, Tommy, I trust them more than San Antonio, who I have at 5 by virtue of their inexperience in the playoffs. I personally don't, but you could make a case that with how hard it is to repeat in Adam Silver's America, I would trust LeBron to get back more than I trust Oklahoma City to become a dynasty. You could make a case that Denver messing around with their starting 5 for the first time in, the Jokic era is going to be a problem. I mean, in terms of power ranking, the Lakers, you could make a case, are right up there with anybody. I only have them a few behind you, Kira. I have them at 47, but that is a drop from last year, and that is the under from Vegas's 49.5. But the reason I like this team so much, and I think they'll be such a tough out in the playoffs, is because when you look at LeBron's history, some of the guys that he has had the most problem with, right? Kevin Love has been one of the most polarizing guys LeBron has ever played with. LeBron wanted no part of even trying to play with Andrew Wiggins, right? He originally got traded as a rookie. Those are guys who are Swiss Army knives. Love can have one game where he gets 18 rebounds, and then the next game he's shooting 9 threes, right? LeBron doesn't like those kind of guys. LeBron likes guys who are defined. And bringing in DeAndre Ayton and bringing in Marcus Smart, who are maybe the 2 most what you're getting night in and night guys out on the planet, is going to be perfect for the last act of LeBron here. And so I love the team they've assembled around LeBron here. Obviously, you can make the argument around Luka, but let's be real. Luka doesn't care who he's playing with. He's going to make his own shots. He's going to make his teammates look better. LeBron likes playing with certain guys, and these are perfect guys for him. Now, with that being said, perfect with LeBron usually ends up being bad with everybody else. And so I think this team is a heavy, heavy underdog in any game LeBron sits out, which inevitably everyone sits out a few. So that's why I'm kind of taking them back a few games, because I don't think they're a good team without LeBron, but they are now built as perfect as they've been around LeBron in a really long time. And, if they end up being somewhere 5 through 8 in the playoffs, I don't feel like a favorite if I'm a 1 through 4 who runs into the Lakers on the road in the playoffs. That's not an easy out at all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if there's a major injury or something like that, but we try not to take that into account unless it happens before the season.
Right, but But again, you're putting him
that was just
you're putting him at 50. I'm putting him at 47. Saying LeBron's going to play 79 games instead of 82 is not calling on injury. That's calling on the trends of all veteran basketball players.
I was just foreshadowing for a future episode, Mongo.
Nope, that's absolutely true. And again, I guess I'll throw out my cliche every time. You always throw out the injuries. I'll remind everybody, this is records we're playing. We're not playing power rankings. I'd have a totally different situation here if this was power rankings because boy, howdy, we have to talk about these last two teams soon. But Tommy, you go ahead first.
So my thing with the Lakers is I don't think they've necessarily regressed, despite the record I'm giving them. It's more so I had them as victims of this ever increasingly powerful West. And so with that in mind, I gave them 45 wins and 37 losses. But if I were to bet, I would bet more. I'm just trying to kind of be realistic, I guess. I would probably, if I were to bet on the plus end, I'd say 48. I'd give them 3 more wins, but I'm gonna sit with 45 for now.
Okay.
And frankly, this team is going to have a rocky start, but I think by the end of the season is where everything's going to come together.
Okay. I mean, I we'll see.
I think what Tommy said, though, is very important there. This is a team that's built for the marathon, not the sprint. Right. But if things click immediately, you could be looking at a team that's chasing the Thunder for the one seed in the West. I mean, we just all think that between LeBron rest days and kind of getting it together at the beginning. But I mean, the same way I said Golden State could easily be a 20-win team, the Lakers are not going out the back. I mean, if the Lakers surprise us, it's going to be, whoa, that's a really, really good team. As opposed to, honestly, I think the entire rest of this division, I'm more inclined to say if we're off by more than 15 games, it's 15 down than 15 up. And so I think the Lakers, to me, have to be the heavy favorite in this division by virtue of the fact that they're the only team that you can see getting better than what you're willing to give them.
I will say this. You guys are much, much harsher graders than I am on this division.
Pacific stinks.
I just have to consider the changes around on the other parts.
No. I don't mean in reference to your thing with the Lakers. I understand. I do understand.
Bro, that's kind of how I approach the whole division, to be honest.
I wanted to put the Kings at -14 and 96, but I was told I'm not allowed to do that.
Who told you that? I didn't say that.
Kevin's stupid system that pops up an error if you don't put a number between 0 and 82 into column B.
Well, whoops. All right, let's go to the Kings. Last year, the Kings had 40 wins, I think. Yeah, 40 and 42. I actually reversed that. I gave them 42 and 40. I don't think they're a good team, but I think that the team is fine. I think 42 at 40, between 40 and 42 makes sense for the Kings. They're old. They're a team.
This thing falls off the tracks so hard and so fast this year. And dear God, take the under. And dear God, don't look now, because this is a full-on train crash. The over-under here is 34.5. And
really?
I think that's even hyper generous. Let me make sure I have that.
What am I missing about this team? What makes you guys? What makes
it's barely a team right now?
The problem is, so let's review real quick. You move on from Fox, and you build this team around Levine and DeRozan, two guys who desperately need the ball.
They still have Domantas Sabonis, though.
They have Sabonis, right? But they have Sabonis, who 6 assists last year. Great ball movement for a big man. That's down 2.2 assists from last year. Malik Monk, shoot first guard. They bring in Dennis Schrader, guy who's not known to be a true facilitator, dribbles way too much. Now, part of the reason they're apparently trying to move on from Monk and get Kuminga is because they want to bring Russell Westbrook in to be their starting guy. Oh, that's the guy who can. Okay. Who can?
All right.
You have Dougie Buckets. You brought in Dario Saric. These are all guys who need a facilitator.
Don't hate on
there's just no facilitator on
this
team.
Wait. I'm looking at Yahoo Sports because that's all I'm good for. They have DeMar DeRozan listed as a small forward, power forward.
This team has no positions. This team, because when you have no point guard, everyone is going to play out of whack. I mean, for context here,
we're witnessing true positionless basketball here, folks.
DeMar Buckets is a power forward as well.
DeMar DeRozan, 4.4 assists
Can I
last
revise
year.
my win record?
In a minute. DeMar DeRozan, 4.4 assists last year, lowest since 2016, 2017. This team does not know how to facilitate. And now freaking Doug Christie, who, by the way, I know what you're thinking, that's the coach of this thing. Doug Christie came out at the end of last season and said he wants high volume 3-point shooting as his primary source of offense. Your star on this team is Sabonis, who shoots like just over 2 threes a game. Zero direction, zero cohesiveness, zero positions, zero passing. They went out and got – there's always that one team that is just tragically old, right? Like, it's one thing to be like Charlotte, who gets rookies and can't put it together every year. But there's that one mediocre team. For like 20 years, it was the Clippers, right? From like the Pooh Richardson Clippers of 1994 to right before Lob City. They were the team of veterans that just was a mediocre slob fest all season long. The Danny Granger Pacers took that for a while. It was the Miami Heat the last couple of years. This is your team that has nothing exciting about it, that is not going anywhere, that stinks and will continue to stink until they do something. And fortunately, Keegan Murray, who's the next guy up for a big contract, is just barely not great but good enough that they're going to mess that up too. So they'll move on from him. They'll figure this out in 3 to 4 years. But man, I was merciful at 29 wins, but they could easily have been below Phoenix's 27. They could easily be the worst team in the league. This team is bad.
I'm revising them to 32 wins.
Good move. So go move.
Tommy.
Yeah,
this is your Sacramento Kings.
I'm a little more generous just because I feel like these veterans are going to pull out a win when they probably shouldn't have. You never know. I got them at 33 wins. It's not that much of a difference. I'd still take the under on them.
Because the other thing to remember is once they're out, what are they playing for?
They'll beat a Lakers team that has LeBron out or something.
Listen, people should be beating Utah. People should be beating Washington. But if it's April 12th and a 21-win Washington team is playing a 29-win Sacramento team, don't even try to sell me on which team wants that more. Washington has guys trying to prove their way in this league, trying to earn their place. Washington will beat Sacramento. And I have no idea if they play in April, but you get my point. Washington will beat Sacramento in April by 20.
Sorry, I was fixing everything. I have nothing you guys did.
How far the mighty have fallen.
Is bad.
I mean, the Kings have not. The Kings are.
I'm saying from my prediction years ago to now.
Yeah. Hey, at least the Knicks got Mike Brown.
Good for them. I'll tell you, when Doug Christie is my first coach fired this year, Doug Christie, former Knick, coming over with Mike Brown does make a ton of sense. So be on the lookout for that at least.
All right, let's move to the Clippers. This is the thing I was talking about. I was foreshadowing. This team has a very awkward situation that the NBA is investigating that apparently will not be. They've already come out and said is not going to be resolved before the All-Star break, which is the whatever. Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers may be forced to part ways.
That would be something.
And apparently, allegedly, there's already plenty of people in the Clippers organization who are perfectly fine with that happening. They're already tired of him. Surprise, surprise, says no one. So this goes back to, I think it's Kawhi's uncle, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, no one
is like
on that, man.
Been he's got, he I think he's his agent. I could be wrong. I don't know if he's exactly his agent, but he does a lot of meetings for Kawhi. And he allegedly tried to get the Lakers, the Mavericks, and some other teams, and obviously the Clippers themselves, to somehow circumvent the cap, so that they could at least still go get other players and go pay Kawhi allegedly, this is all alleged, right? I'm not saying that any of this is fact elsewhere. We saw this happen with Minnesota a while back with Joe Smith, and the punishment was harsh once it was caught. And the punishment was they voided Joe Smith's contract, and then he was not allowed to re-sign with them. And then Minnesota forfeited, I think, their next 5 first-round picks or something ridiculous like that. And that, ruined the whole Kevin Garnett, era of Minnesota is essentially. And I obviously, like, they can get rid of the Clippers' first-round picks. They don't really own them, right? So, like, that's not really, like, a big punishment. But voiding the contract of Kawhi and then forcing him to go not be able to sign back would be a big hit, right? Like, that just leaves them with James Harden, essentially, right? They lost Paul George, right? They traded him, they traded him or sent him off. Somehow he ended up with Philadelphia. They got a couple of other players, but that team's not spectacular or anything like that. Last year, sorry, I forgot to say that, they did get 50 wins. I don't see them getting 50 wins. I do have them only at 45, mostly because assuming Kawhi still plays until he gets is forced to leave, if he is or isn't, who knows? This isn't David Stern anymore, right? Like, we don't know what Adam Silver's going to do, especially seeing, to a certain degree, he doesn't want this to have, like, them to get neutered entirely. I don't know. I gave him 45 wins. I think that the Clippers are in a very bad spot, and if Kawhi isn't on the team before the season starts, I would drop that by like 10 more wins. Mago, you're muted, by the way.
No, I know. Sorry, I had noise going on in the back here. I will tell you. So go back and watch I don't know, Kilroy, at this point, probably several hundred shows we've done together. Kilroy and I, and obviously Tommy, Kevin, the rest of the crew, but it's been, Kilroy and I since day one. We do not really like to get into the weeds of the politics of things. Once something is officially confirmed, we'll talk about its implications. I will just add here the basic premise of this is that Kawhi was being given money basically to be part of a sort of third company to do promotional work that he never did. So we basically got paid to do nothing. And that is the sort of paper trail they're following. If you're interested in this kind of thing, Pablo Torre on ESPN, fantastic coverage of it. Literally just Google Kawhi Leonard, Pablo Torre. I can't imagine anything else on the planet comes up besides that. And again, not speculation, just sort of issue to consider. Why this is slightly different in this case is because, honestly, Steve Ballmer is rich enough that if they tried to force Kawhi away, Steve Ballmer could go buy a second NBA team, sign Kawhi Leonard to that, then buy all the Clippers players and just have Clippers East. So you have to be real careful if you're the NBA to not piss off your literal number one bankroll. So I don't know if anything's going to come out of that. I do think it's a big distraction, and I do think that could mess with them, which I think is even more of a factor. You are underselling what they did in the offseason, but I also think that adds to why I'm not thrilled about this team. I mean, they go out and get Bradley Beal. They go out and get Brook Lopez. They go out and get Chris Paul. They go out and get John Collins. I mean, these are great names, and the average age on this team is now about 53. I mean, they have put together a team that if everyone can magically stay healthy, if everybody, treats this as just a one-year run that's going to break up in 2026, it's got some potential, but I don't know how you could bet the over on this team. I don't know how you could think this team has any sort of ceiling. I think, Kilroy, give me your number again.
What are the odds? I have 45. What's the odds?
The over-under is 47.5. You have them at 45. I have them at 43. But I think, again, if you told me right now, bet your life savings, Tommy says I just came back from the future. The Clippers either had 23 or 63 wins. bet your life savings. It's going on 23, and I'm not thinking twice about that. The wheels can fall off this thing in spectacular fashion. They're not getting to more than 51, 52 wins, even if everything goes right. So, I mean, it's a huge risk. Like you said, Kilroy, a lot of reasons to be concerned, a lot of distractions, very little gain if everything goes right. I mean, that's a lot of veterans who know what they're doing in the playoffs. Sorry, Tommy, if the Clippers find the Spurs in round one, I'd be a little scared just by virtue of the experience. But I think
always going after me.
I mean,
it's because the Spurs are better this year. They're gonna they should make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I have the Clippers. I have the Clippers as the 8. I don't know if they actually make it out of the play-in because I have Dallas and Golden State in the play-in, and I think Dallas and Golden State would both be able to beat the Clippers. But if the Clippers got to the playoffs, they could make a little bit of noise. But man, this is a team that you could see easily just completely falling off a bridge. Again, I think Ballmer being involved and Ballmer playing it as perfectly and as dumb as he has probably ends up protecting Kawhi. But again, if any news comes out on that front, we'll certainly talk about it on this show. But for now, like I said, give me the Clippers at 43. That puts them right around Golden State. But both teams, because of distractions behind the scenes, I think are both in mega trouble with a very low ceiling.
All right, Tommy, you wrap this up.
Look, I have zero faith
in the future.
I have zero faith in this retirement home of a team. If you recall a few years back, I was very low on the Lakers too for being a retirement home. And it's the same story here. This is a team that if you told me it was assembled in 2015, 2016, I'd be like, all right, the NBA needs to investigate this because this is crazy. But we're going into 2026, and these are old men still in the league. They're not the same players they were 10 years ago. I mean, we know this with Kawhi. This guy can't play a whole season. I really want to be high on this team, despite everything going on. But I just can't because I've seen what happens with these teams that overload on aged talent. They slow down because they get worn down by injuries and just wear and tear. I'm saying 30 wins.
Wow.
I'm not mad. I'm honestly not mad at that.
I'm not mad at it.
Because honestly, even if you're wrong, even if it's 42, 43, even if it's 50, I don't disrespect
I would be
Tommy's,
okay with 42 wins.
Yeah, I don't disrespect Tommy's logic at all here. I also think it's worth noting they didn't add guys and clear out. I mean, they got rid of guys like Jordan Goodwin. I mean, it wasn't like they got rid of all their best players to make room for these guys. But, they got rid of Norm Powell. They got rid of Amir Coffey. I mean, these were guys who were putting in quality minutes, especially when veterans were taking days off the last 2, 3, 4 years. And they're I don't know what they're thinking there, but they're not realizing how much these intangibles guys do for them. You don't think about the Clippers and think about Amir Coffey, but you watch that team for 5. Good for you. But you watch that team for a quarter and a half, and you go, oh, it's not just Harden chucking up 45 shots. I mean, the fourth quarter is Harden just chucking up 45 shots, but there's a lot of stuff in between. There's a lot of games where Leonard or Harden or, in the past couple of years, George aren't even there. And it's these solid, reliable role players. I mean, John Collins will have his moments where he, takes over, and we'll see him kind of act as the fountain of youth, but really by default, only because the other guys around him are somehow even more veteran. But Tommy, I'm not mad at that call at all.
And that's what I liked about this Clippers team in the past is that when Kawhi was out, you could have Norman Powell or whoever come in. You had reliable role players. Now,
excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, sure. Chris Paul played 82 games. Good for him. That was pretty damn cool that he played 82 games at his age last season. He ain't doing that this year.
So my question is, what's their plan with Chris Paul and James Harden, right? They're obviously James Harden's going to be their primary ball handler, right? Is Paul going to come off the bench? Is that the plan?
I was under the impression that he didn't want to have to come off the bench. I think he wanted to be a starter somewhere. So that's why I was so baffled by this move. Did they think they were going to get Lob City back?
My guess, and I'm solely speculating, is that they end up no matter how they start, my guess is they end up settling in with Beal as the 6th man. I think they go Paul, Harden, Leonard, Collins, and Lopez would be my guess. Maybe Zubac in there. with Collins off the bench. But I think Zubac makes more sense as the big off the bench. And then to be perfectly honest with you, I actually can't name an eighth man on this team, but whoever the eighth man is would be the eighth man. How about that for a Yogi Berra ending to the episode?
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
The Magic head coach will be the eighth man.
Jerome Moiso?
Thank you all for joining us again on this lovely show, Court Vision. Please like, share, subscribe, comment down below your prediction for the Pacific Division for the 2025-2026 season, and we'll catch you next time.
Tell
Thank
me how
you.
crazy my Clippers prediction was.
Love you guys. They re-signed Nick Batum.
Another old man.
Love you guys.
Bye.